about it. What does this fight mean for you?
It means a lot. I mean, I think it's a great opportunity, to go out there and showcase what I have and really solidify myself in the division and, move forward. So that's the whole goal of taking this fight and coming out Saturday and getting the win.
Were you a little surprised? I mean, I know you called him out, but to call him out then the very next day, get the call, I mean, what's running through your mind when you get the call you're going to fight?
Well, I was obviously excited. I've done things similar to that before, whether it was on Twitter or somewhere else, and didn't get the call back and the nod on the go-ahead, but this time I did, and I was happy for it. I mean, I wanted it and asked for it, got it.
Mike, I had said to Josh, I thought in your fight with Fitch that you seemed to have had your moments in that fight where, you were doing fairly well. His take was not at all. What is your memory of the fight with Fitch, and where do you think you ultimately came up short?
My memory in the fight is that, somewhere maybe in the second round, I actually paused and thought to myself, like, I'm fighting the number 2 guy ranked in the world right now. I'm in this fight. And then in the third round, I, just put caution to the wind and just gave it everything that I had. So, definitely in that third round, I really turned it on. My only regret was that I didn't do it sooner. Had I done it sooner, who knows how the fight would have turned out. That was something I wish I had done.
He just said a couple minutes ago that when they gave him the fight, he had to look you up because he didn't know who you are. Do you believe him?
He's lying. He's lying. I fought his teammate like 2 years ago. Either that or he's just dumb. So, one of the two. I don't know which.
So why do you think he says things like that? Do you think he's just trying to...
Because he's Josh Koscheck. That's what he does. He likes to antagonize people. He likes to be arrogant, cocky, and that's just his thing. So, it'll come to bite him in the butt later.
Do you think there's a potential that he's overlooking you at all, or do you feel like that's just posturing and he's really taking you seriously behind the scenes?
Well, I hope so. I mean, I like when guys overlook me and just, kind of think they're going to walk through me because they get their eyes open real quick. That it's not going to be that easy. And proving people wrong is kind of something I've been doing my whole life and looking forward to do again on Saturday.
What do you think about his game? Obviously, we know what you think about his personality and his persona, but what about his game that you see? I mean, are you impressed by it, or did you see opportunities and that's why you called him out?
Well, no, I'm impressed by him as a fighter. I mean, he got a title shot. These guys don't get title shots by accident. I think he's a pretty good fighter. He's well-rounded, but, I think there's still some holes in his games that, people can capitalize on, and people have capitalized before on in the past. So, I definitely think there's some things that I'm going to be keying on and looking for opportunities and places. So, yeah, I mean, he's not like, he's just like every other guy. He's got weaknesses.
Are you letting yourself think down the road at all? I mean, obviously this is kind of a weird time in your division. There's a lot of kind of turmoil right now and things moving around. I mean, are you thinking about where a fight puts you and what opportunities are there, or is it just, this fight right now?
I'm focusing on just this fight right now, but, I mean, it's no surprise. There's a lot of craziness going on in the welterweight division right now, and, new blood is coming up, and, some of the other guys that have been kind of the gatekeepers for a while are either, thinking retirement or thinking of going to different weight classes and, kind of getting at the end of the line here. So, yeah, I think this next year, 2012 is going to be a big year for the welterweight division.
You referenced new blood and gatekeepers. How do you see yourself, a new blood or a gatekeeper? You've been around a while.
Yeah, I've been around a while. I wouldn't consider myself necessarily new blood, maybe to some of the fans that don't know me, possibly, but, I'm kind of seeing myself as one of these guys that's progressively working up the chain here, and then that's what I'm looking to do on Saturday. Getting a win over Josh Koscheck puts me in a good spot to, get that title shot down the road, I hope.
Who do you see as your competition? Koscheck would be a big win. Who do you see as your competition, assuming GSP is hurt, to get, that big fight coming up? Are there any guys out there that you look at that might be ahead of you that in the mix?
Oh, sure. There's plenty of guys I could list right off top that I think are, in that picture right now that I would potentially have a fight with. I mean, Johnny Hendricks is another guy I just fought, lost a split decision to, who's kind of in that picture right now. He already called out whoever wins this fight against Nick Diaz and Carlos Condit. Certainly Carlos Condit and Nick Diaz, those are guys that are obviously vying for that spot. Jake Ellenberger's another name that he's coming up. He's doing real well right now. And, just those are the guys I'm looking at right now that are potential, fights down the road.
Do you think most of what he talks about, his attitude, is it an act for him to feel better, or is that just who he is?
I honestly don't know. From what I gather from people that know him inside and outside, I mean, that's just kind of who he is. You know, in the very beginning, I only knew him as a wrestler watching Ultimate Fighter 1. This is before I even got into the sport. And I, you know, kind of have a thing for wrestlers. And, you know, the further the show went on, the less I liked him because of his personality. So it kind of hurt me not to be able to root for him. But, yeah, I tend to believe that's the real Josh Koscheck.
How much does it matter to you that fighting fits already? That his camp already has kind of a scouting report on you.
I have a scouting report from 2 years ago. I mean, they can go ahead and use that if they want, but I feel that I'm a much more complete fighter. I've had a lot different coaching and better coaching in my camps as of lately, especially over the last couple of years. I feel I've been progressing each fight, and plan to show that.
I feel like you progressed even in the Hendricks fight. I mean, I know it was a loss, but did you take anything out of that?
That one's kind of hard for me because, the camp went really well. The fight went okay. I've been telling people I think that, he won the fight. I could see how the judges scored that, but I don't think the better fighter necessarily won that fight. I kind of let some personal things get inside my head and kind of take control in places where, it was just hard, and I kind of consider myself a guy that's able to take tough situations and just kind of segregate them and just focus on the fight at hand. But, my girlfriend she was pregnant and had some potential medical problems with that. So I was thinking about that and dealing with a big fight with Johnny Hendricks. So, I just didn't have it all there, but it was still an okay fight. And, can't take it back. Maybe sometime down the road.
Well, when he was here, he kind of talked about, he really talked about the talk that you've been doing. He even said that if you fought as well as you talked, you'd be the UFC champion. You're not really a talker. I think
if I talked like Chael, I'd be the UFC champion.
Right, so you're not, that was interesting for him to say. Do you think he's focusing on that a lot to pump himself up for this fight? What do you read into that versus him, going that deep?
That was what Josh Koscheck said?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think my talk is necessarily that great. Like I said, I think Chael does a far better job than I do. I'm not trying to be that guy. I'm not trying to be the guy that does all the antics and stuff. I was just stating some facts. I generally think that the fans don't like the guy. They boo him in Canada, they boo him here, they boo him everywhere. So I just want to give them what they want.
What do you think about that, though? You think he's just, you think he's got a sensitive personality? Do you think that he's trying to hype up the fight? Do you think he just is trying to get motivation out of that? Why would he make such a big deal about it? Because he really did.
Yeah, maybe he's trying to hype the fight. He didn't this entire time leading up to this very moment. Typically on Twitter he's talking a lot, on his Facebook he's talking a lot. The only time that he ever kind of responded to anything was on the countdown video. So it kind of makes me think he's a little nervous because it's not typically Josh Koscheck, So we'll find out.
Do you follow him on Twitter?
No, I don't, but friends of friends, you know how it is. Retweets, all that fun stuff. The only one thing I saw on his Twitter is he actually took a picture of his hand and said that he's gonna pimp slap someone on the fourth. So that's about the only thing I ever saw. I just told him to keep slap boxing with his pimp handle and knock him out with my fist. So we'll see what happens.
Thanks, guys.